Emerging Artists New Work series. We're very excited to be presenting tonight Cleaning Up, performed and written by Paul Adams, directed by Melissa Atterbury. For those of you not familiar with how the New Work series goes, twice a year Emerging Artists puts on these festivals, and it's a way to showcase musicals, solo shows, two-person comedies. It's a chance to put these present these pieces a lot of times for the first time in front of an audience, and afterwards we get feedback. I'll just pull up a couple chairs. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes, so I ask that you stay for that if you can. Just gives the actors and directors a chance to ask you any questions they may have. Anyway, we've got great shows for the next 3 weeks, so please come back after this. A few quick things. Please turn off your cell phones. If there's an emergency, which there won't be, but there's an emergency exit the way you came in and also to the left past the bathrooms. Just follow me. I'll be screaming and acting like an idiot. I will get us out of here. Also, if you'd like to get a drink after the show or one of the cookies, Paul made them from scratch. Oh. They're homemade. They're $5. But everything goes towards the theater and the festival. So anyway, there's no calories too. Anyway, thank you so much for coming out and enjoy the show.
I'm the cleaning guy. Feel free to call me for your mess. I'm the cleaning guy. My goal is to eliminate your stress. I pay attention to detail. Can get rid of that wilted kale. I never judge what I may see. I might suggest things carefully. I'm the cleaning guy. I never frighten me away. I'm the cleaning guy. For a large job, I'll stay all day. I clean the toilet with this hand. I bet some of you just should now. I don't wear gloves 'cause I'm a man. Oh, I use bleach. You're fine for now. I'm the cleaning guy, and I do magic with a sponge and foam. I'm the cleaning guy, you'll be so happy to come home. I'll take the clutter all away, make sure those dust bunnies don't stay. I'm the cleaning guy. Show of hands. How many people hate to clean? Thought so. Call me. Okay, I admit I'm a freak. I like to go into a mess and leave it all clean and organized. Why, you ask? I have no idea. I mean, I've always had a lot of energy. I wake up singing at 5:30 in the morning, even on weekends. The reason might be that as a child growing up in Kansas, I used to go with my father to the co-op plant he ran. There were these huge stalls of chemical fertilizer, and we used to play in them. In shorts, we bury ourselves. I think it altered my DNA. Who needs coffee when you've been buried in fertilizer? I remember my chores were cleaning down the basement steps, the bathrooms, and picking up the dog poop in the backyard. If no one was around, I used the tongs from the barbecue. That's why I never ate hot dogs when we grilled. I guess it was these childhood chores that instilled in me a kinship with cleaning, and singing while I worked just made the job more enjoyable. I moved to this dirty town 31 years ago with just 2 suitcases and $100. I got random jobs in different fields, and then I fell into the good old standby, waitering. I worked at the American Festival Cafe at Rockefeller Center for 6 years, or as the help used to call it, the American Testicle Cafe. Then I saw an ad for an apartment cleaning company looking for people to clean. The agency was called It's About Time Apartment Cleaners. They had a 4-hour minimum, $12 an hour. I would get 7 an hour and they got 5. And I had no say over where they sent me. I remember my first job, the door swung open and this little elderly woman put a toothbrush in my hand. My little buttons got stick all over the wall. Can you clean that up? I did. But my problem was I work kind of fast. And these people wanted me there for every minute of those 4 hours. So suddenly, I was matching up a garbage bag of socks. Or polishing a 200-piece silver thimble collection. Now this agency was gay owned and operated. And I definitely remember my first gay client. He lived in the West Village on Christopher Street. I arrived, and the door swung open to reveal an elderly, rotund man dressed completely in leather with rings in his nipples.
I am Sherrod. Welcome to my humble abode. Make yourself comfortable.
Now, I usually find that I like to clean on my hands and knees, as it's easy to get under furniture and you can really see the dirt. Well, my client seemed to enjoy this also, as he followed right behind me.
You sure are thorough. Bet you spend a lot of time on your knees.
Suddenly, his ancient Electrolux vacuum cleaner started sucking up parts of the wall.
What are you doing to my apartment? My wall is going up the vacuum.
I'm sorry, I said. I shut off the vacuum and spent 20 minutes digging debris out of the hose, only to look over and see him transfixed, staring at me, drooling, twirling his nipple ring. You know what? I just don't think this is working for either of us. So why don't we just say $20 for the time that I've been here and call it, a day.
Well, I've really enjoyed meeting you. Perhaps we can meet socially sometime.
The vibe I was getting was definitely not about cleaning. And it's hard to clean an apartment that's crumbling around you. I left knowing that he could find some other innocent cleaner to take my place. Gerard was nice enough, but not a possibility for long-term income. But I saw the potential if I could be my own boss. I mean, I was doing all the hard work anyway. So might as well venture out and try. And since I've always had a sense of adventure, cleaning is really exciting because you never know what awaits you on the other side of the door. So I hung up signs in the buildings I cleaned in. I also noticed that there weren't any apartment cleaning sections in the Free Gay Bar and Club magazines, so I began them. Now this was before online was big, so you actually had to advertise in hard copy. But of course, whenever you advertise in a gay publication, let's just say it can open your eyes to a whole new world of experiences. One of my first responses to my ad was a guy on the Upper West Side. You can sort of imagine it as a movie. The camera follows me as I get buzzed in, and the apartment doors open. I don't see anyone inside, so I say, "Hello?" I get a response from somewhere deep in the apartment. "Oh, I'm busy working on something. Just go ahead and start in the kitchen. The place is filthy." The camera pans around to a beautifully appointed kitchen with not a dish in the sink, nor any dirt to be found. I make up a sink of water and start cleaning. It doesn't take me long, so I move into a very organized dining room with place settings on the table as if for a dinner party. The man is not there either, but then from farther into the apartment. "I really appreciate you coming on short notice. I'm so embarrassed the place is such a wreck. So where are you from?" "Oh, I was born in Kansas, but I grew up mainly in North Dakota. Must be quite different for you here in New York." "Yes, I'm definitely not in Kansas anymore." Oh, that's funny," he says, in what I believe to be the next room. However, I enter the formal, spotless living room, and no one is there. "So do you come from a large family?" "Yes, I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers. Well, there were 3 more, but they died when they were babies. So I'm the 10th of 11 or the 7th of 8. Why am I telling you all these additional details? I do this when I get nervous. I just start blabbing about me when I really should be finding out more about him. "So where are you from originally?" "Oh, I'm a born and bred New Yorker. I'm about to come into the bedroom to dust now." "Okay." I open the bedroom door, and no one. just an expertly made bed. It's hard to find good help these days, and I liked what you said about you can clean better than Dorothy's tornado. Cute. I finished dusting, and I stepped through the bathroom door. So how do you like New York? Camera cuts to close-up of my face while wiping the shower tiles, saying to myself, don't look down, don't look down. Oh, I like it just fine. It's got everything you'd ever want and everything you'd never want. You just have to find the right balance. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I patiently wait in the kitchen, and he emerges in a bathrobe, wallet in hand. You did a great job. The place looks amazing. I will definitely have you come again. Well, thanks. I'm off then. As I hurriedly exit the apartment, wishing I had sanitizer for my eyeballs. My best friends come in a bottle and a box. My best friends gather dust and white socks. A little green box in a big white jug. I'm addicted to them like a drug. Swiffers and Clorox are the only brands I choose. 25 years taught me exactly what to use. Swiffers make all the dust just disappear. Clorox leaves the shower curtain crystal clear. My best friend is a sponge that I can trust on a greasy stove or a fridge with lots of crust. SOS or some kitchen scrubber type. Never foam because they don't work right. My best friend is a vacuum that can suck. Made by Eureka. Only 69 bucks. These best friends help me get through all the crime. Without them, it would take me much more time. So I hope you're writing all of this down. I said I hope you're writing all of this down. Why are you not writing this down? Cleaning was becoming my new best friend, and who knew it could have such an exciting edge? But when you have a business that relies on people and their messes, you're bound to find it pretty fascinating. I mean, to have keys to people's apartments and know that for the most part, I was alone, only piqued my usually curious nature. Sometimes I lost track of time by losing myself in looking at things on shelves and the diverse decorating trends in each apartment. Then realizing I was behind schedule, I would have to resort to mouth dusting. Basically running around using my hot air to blow the dust off furniture. And being short on time, if I was hungry, I might search the cupboards or fridge for something to eat, and then reassemble the package to make it look like nothing had been taken. Maybe take a swig out of something in the fridge from the container. And then there was the devil's temptation, porn. Okay, I never owned any porn, and so I might have spent a few months, okay, maybe a year, catching up on certain titles at clients' apartments. So it was hard not to be distracted by an interesting article, or wanting to see how well written the script might be in a particular film. It was purely by accident that I hit the play button on the VCR while dusting. Now I find that it's always better to make yourself comfortable when watching a film, so that you can really understand the intricacies of the plot. I was really involved in a particular scene when I heard a key in the lock start to turn. I jumped up, tripping on my pants around my ankles, and the remote flew into the crack between the wall and the bed. I am banging every button on the VCR to quiet the intense dialogue coming from the screen and to hopefully shut down the film while hobbling, trying to get my pants back up. I found the mute button just as the door opened and heard my client say, "Hello?" I was frozen in the next room, with the muted film still playing, my clothes completely still in disarray, making sure I couldn't be seen in his small studio outcome apartment. "Hi," I said. I thought you were coming home later." "Oh, I took an earlier flight, but I'll get out of your way. You need, what, another hour or so?" "Yeah, that should do it." "Thanks, welcome back." And the lovely sound of the click of the door lock. Luck was on my side that day, and I learned that I had to be more careful knowing my clients' schedules. so that my thoughtful interest in these Oscar-worthy films would not get me fired. However, many of my new clients from my ads would be one-timers, only interested in a one-time cleaning, and each one got a bit more strange. One such client was nicely dressed when I arrived, and as my cleaning time went on, he would just happen to need something in an area that I was working on. But the odd thing was, each time he reappeared, he would be missing an item of clothing. Sometimes needing to get very close to me and the area I was working in. Another guy asked if I would do nude cleaning, which I thought was a bit unusual, so I told him it was $50 an hour. I thought he'll hang up. He said that was fine and he gave me his address. Now, I never really thought of myself as any Adonis, especially back then. But $50 an hour? This was the 80s. That was a lot of cash. I arrived at his apartment and he said hello. He was very intent on a large stack of receipts that he was sorting in his living room. He was a church choir accompanist. I went into the dining area, stripped down, and went to the kitchen to start cleaning. I have to admit, it was very free. I didn't have to worry about getting my clothes damaged. I mean, I did have to be careful of my body parts. So I cleaned the apartment, and when finished, got dressed, he paid me, and I left. He never looked at me or followed me around. He stayed right on that couch and he worked on those receipts. I didn't analyze it, but just accepted it as some weird fetish. Bizarre, but great money. But bizarre doesn't begin to explain the guy in Brooklyn. He asked me to come out to Brooklyn in a neighborhood I was not familiar with. A tall man of imposing size with a very weathered face ushered me in and said he didn't really want cleaning. He wanted me to help him move some furniture from one room to another. I also do organization, and so sometimes furniture moving happens every now and then, and can sometimes be a nice change from cleaning. So for a few hours, we moved large pieces of furniture from one room to the next. The sun was starting to set, so he lit some candles to give us some light. An interesting ambiance until I realized that none of the light switches worked. When we finished with the furniture, it was dark outside. I washed my hands in the kitchen, and then searched for him in the dim apartment. I entered the dark bedroom and literally could not make out where he was in the room, until a flare from a match illuminated him towering over me as he lit up his crack pipe. He pushed the glowing pipe towards me.
You party?
I said, thanks, but I'm trying to cut down. I have another job back in Manhattan, so I have to get to it.
Oh,
I only have 30. Is that enough? Oh, wait, no. I need the 20. Is $10 okay? I looked at the silhouette of this man, double my size, with a crack pipe in his hand, and holding out a $10 bill in a darkened bedroom at the end of the world in Brooklyn. Can you guess my answer? Now, it's not my place to judge what someone does in the privacy of their own home, but I can choose to not be part of their festivities. I mean, I am there as a service to help them put their apartment in order. How they choose to live or the mess they may make is part of their own reality. No matter what I see, I have no idea the actual circumstances that bring about their dirt. It is their domain, and they have every right to be fussy about certain things that for some reason are important to them. And only the universe knows the true reason why clients can fixate on areas of their apartment that most people would never notice or care about. All I know is that I don't have to live with them. Only endure it for a short while as I try to make it all clean. A prime example was Irwin. He lived on Central Park South. He had a stunning view of the park. He explained for an hour how the bed must be made.
you have to sit on the edge of the bed.
Oh, he was on oxygen.
And pull the sheet very tight. And then put these strap holder clips on every 4 inches. Then do the same with the blanket also. And if you can steam all the floors, and be careful not to touch the architectural boulders and my tortoise which lives in the kitchen sink.
I'll do it this time, as I know you have company coming tomorrow, but you don't need to go into detail, as I'm not coming back. It's your home, and you have the right to have it cleaned the way you want, but I'm not the right guy for you.
But I like you.
I like you too, but you're anal. And that's not a good fit for me for a long cleaning relationship. Beep. Paul, it's Malcolm. I wanted to thank you for the initial job you did yesterday. It was fairly adequate. Now, there are a few items I wanted to discuss for next time. noticed you didn't do the inside of the shower curtain rings. You'll do them next time. I actually emailed you a note about this, but then realized perhaps I should go over certain things so there's no confusion. So if you go to page 2, I made a diagram of the coffee table with the placement of every item in inches from the edges of the table, plotted out for you to follow next time. And I'll leave the tape measure on the table. Oh, and on page 4, you'll see my specific placement and pattern arrangement for the bed pillows. That's it, just a few little extra things for you to do, and then I'll be looking to do an in-depth cleaning in the near future. Thank you, and I'm totally fine if it takes you a full 8 hours. It was 70 for a 1-bedroom, right? Look forward to your next visit. That's the nice thing about being my own boss. I can do anything one time to help them out, but I get to decide if I want to continue the partnership. Clients can be so bizarre, and it amazes me how even long-term ones can astound me with how they choose to communicate. I was with some friends at my apartment when my phone rang. Hello? Dust bunnies! There are dust bunnies under the couch! You get over here immediately and get rid of them! What do I pay you for? I can't believe I come home to this after a stressful day at work. Do you hear me? I want them gone! Damn it! Get the fuck over here and do your fucking job! I just stood in my apartment with the phone still 5 inches from me. All my friends were like deer in the headlights, because they heard his amplified rant. This was a man I had cleaned for over 10 years. Never any issues before, but I had heard he had a temper. I had just never experienced it myself. I went to his apartment and swept up the single dust bunny. Then I went into the study and handed his lover the keys and said, I quit. He said, why? I said, ask your lover. I can take a lot as a human being, but the one thing I won't tolerate is forgetting that I'm human. And as such, we can communicate as beings with intelligence and respect. Otherwise, I'm out of there. I mean, these people have no idea what it's like to walk into a filthy apartment, smile as my eyes look around at the job that awaits me, and then do everything in my power to get it to what I consider clean. And my standards are pretty high, but even then. I strive to be real thorough when I do an initial clean. I want the client to be happy and think my work is really keen. As I search on all fours to make sure it all looks great, then I turn and suddenly see my arch nemesis that I hate. It's a hair laying right across the pillow. It's a hair in the fridge to the right of the jello. It's like a single strand from the bathtub drain. It suddenly becomes a clump like a horse's mane. There's a hair on the bright white kitchen tile. There's a hair, it seems to go on for a mile. In my zeal, I cover every inch of floor. Oh my God, I'm on my knees more than a whore. Get the hair, you know the clients are so picky. Get the hair, a perfect surface is so tricky. Get the hair, get the hair, get the hair, get the hair, get the hair. Hair is a constant and evil foe. And where does most of their hair come from? Why, pets, of course. Part of being a good apartment cleaner is the ability to deal with unique situations, but you also have to have great chemistry with pets. I got hired once because I knelt down and said, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty," and the cat came to me. The couple was bowled over and said that had never happened before and hired me on the spot. There were other random little animal incidents like, beep. Paul, Ahmed, I am so sorry about last night. I realized what you must have thought when you entered my
my dark apartment. I just totally forgot to tell you about Victoria. I saw pieces of your jeans on the floor along with the torn newspaper. I'm sure it will go much smoother next time once she gets to know you. She really is an incredibly sweet pit bull.
Paul, it's Darius from the East Village. Matt and I just wanted to thank you for being such a good sport. We were watching the nanny cam footage and saw that you didn't get upset by our little hairless wonders. I have to say it was so funny how while you were vacuuming, they would leap onto your back and have a little fight. We kept rewinding it and watching it over and over while we smoked the joint. It really made us crack up, man. The look on your face. We're thinking of posting it on YouTube. Would you mind? And that special Friday when I went to Larry's apartment for the normal weekly cleaning and to feed his cat, who was 22 years old, I looked around the apartment and called, "Here, Sapphire, come on, Sap!" And then I saw this from under the couch. "Come on, Sapphire, come on, girl!" But there was only... I had never had to deal with the death of an animal in my work. Part of me wanted to pretend I didn't see her there and simply slip out and let the woman who came during the week deal with it. Sapphire was one of two cats that I'd known in that apartment. Lexington was the other cat, who was very social and always greeted me at the door and who I would play with after I finished cleaning. Lexington had passed away the year before at age 21, and he used to have a habit of getting locked in the closet when Larry had a little too much to drink. Many a time I would hear Lexington's meow from the closet when I arrived and rescue him from his accidental entrapment. Sapphire was a skittish one, who usually hid, but who every now and then I could get to coax to come out and just barely sniff my hand before she would run back to her favorite hiding spots. After Lexington passed away, I would catch Sapphire scratching at the closet door, hoping that he might still be inside. I looked at her and could not leave her there for someone else to deal with. We had a 20-year relationship, and now I had the chance to finally touch her with the same affection I'd given Lexington. I gently eased her body out by her furry little arms, wrapped her in a towel, and called the doorman. Beep! Paul, it's Malcolm. I read your email, but I'm a bit confused. I just want to get everything really clean. I was so hopeful this time that I found the right cleaner for me and you. It's been a long line of cleaning people who come here once and never return. I often wonder if I say something wrong or insult them in some way without knowing it. I remember so fondly watching my own mother use a toothbrush to scrub the corners of the kitchen floor. Seeing her so devoted to her own cleanliness sometimes brings up so much guilt in me that I do find it so easy to talk to you even though I'm not there when you clean. I just wish you would reconsider. Thank you. Goodbye. It always amazes me when clients don't realize their obsessions with dirt, and how sometimes it can border on the pathological. I went to clean for this woman on the Upper West Side who was a perfect example. I arrived to be treated to a monologue from her about how filthy everything was. She had purchased a special 2-hour cleaning, so I thought to myself as she kept talking, I can handle this if it's only a short time period. After she finished, I went into the kitchen to get started and could really see no visible dirt anywhere. She informed me that she did not want any dirty water in the kitchen sink or in the bathroom, and that she did not use paper towels. As I moved on to one of 3 bathrooms, I sprayed some of the special non-toxic cleaning solution she had provided. Suddenly, she comes racing into the bathroom. "I don't recognize that smell!" "Well, it's what you gave me." "Well, I guess that other woman must never have used it." I had to slow myself down, as I usually work pretty fast, so that I could draw out my work to finish with the basics in 2 hours. As I finished, she blurted out, "It's so refreshing because you seem intelligent and you speak English.
Oh.
Do you have any open slots in your regular schedule? Do you mind if I give you direction? Would that be okay? Oh, you did such a great job, I can't wait for you to come back, and we can do a real thorough cleaning from top to bottom. Can we start next week?" This is when I pause, and my fantasy self takes over, imagining how fun it would be to hold open her mouth and spray the bathroom cleaner in it. Instead, I simply simply smiled and said, I just don't think we're a match. I really like cleaning for slobs. I like to get some satisfaction from my work, and your apartment is already clean. No, please! You're the cleaner I've been looking for. I'm having fantasies about how I could finally let go and know you'd be able to take over. I'm sorry, but to put it bluntly, you are anal retentive, and I don't work well with that type of personality. Anal retentive people should just do it themselves, as no one will ever clean your apartment the way you want it done. Have a nice day. There were times starting out where, because I didn't have a reputation yet, I had to take work I would later turn down. When these lean times came around, I would put the word out to my friends to see if they might have any possible clients, and ended up by chance working for some well-known individuals. Let's see who can be the first to guess their names. Just shout it out when you know. First is the singer of There's Got to Be a Morning After, if we can hold on to the dawn.
Carly Sun.
Nope.
Maureen McGovern.
Ah, there we go. Right, Maureen McGovern. Her walls were covered with gold records. Theme from Poseidon Adventure, theme from Superman, theme from Ice Castles. She was very sweet, and she gave me a free copy of her new Christmas CD, which I play every year when I bake my holiday cookies. She eventually moved out of the city. Next, the choreographer of the well-known classic musical film, Oklahoma, where the winds go sweeping down the plain. Yes! Just rack him up there. Agnes DeMille! Now, I always just called Agnes, Agnes. Everyone else called her Mrs. Prude. That was her married name. She was partially paralyzed after a stroke. She was in her mid-80s and somewhat shrunken from age, but still sharp as a tack. And not very nice to the other staff. I guess she smelled their fear as she would bellow to her attendant, Ivy! Ivy! Her husband would not let her have a cleaning person, but he had recently passed away. Large cobwebs hung from every corner of the apartment. A thick coat of yellow on walls, mirrors, and windows, as he'd been a big smoker. Agnes and I got along very well. Maybe because I just called her Agnes. We did have one big disagreement about 9 months after I started. She wanted me to type her memoirs from these dusty old cassette tapes. For $5 an hour. But I declined because I'm not a personal secretary, I'm a cleaning guy. She got a bit upset. I can't believe you're going to say no to me. My uncle is Cecil B. DeMille. Do you know what a privilege it is to hear these tapes? I suddenly was being yelled at, like the rest of her staff. And in my book, that's something I don't need to put up with. So I gave her the silent treatment. Still did my work, but no more conversation. Another client was a male film and TV star from the series 24 and movies like Flatliners and Wild Boys.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Right, Kiefer Sutherland. Okay, I never actually met him. Only his bodyguard, who I had a great conversation with about how he used to work for his father Donald, and now he was passed on to taking care of Kiefer. I did have an interesting guest stop by one morning, looking for Kiefer, Gary Oldman. He drank warm beer that I managed to find in the cupboard, and we talked about the state of theater while I cleaned. I believe this was before he went into rehab. Beep.
Hello, this is Gerard. You had the vacuum issue at my apartment. I happened to find your number when I was cleaning my desk and wondered if you might want to go for a drink. Let me know.
Beep. This message has been deleted. A lot of my work can come from referrals from other clients. One of these referrals I never met in person. We only communicated by email. He had left keys for me and his number if I had any questions about the apartment. As I walked through the kitchen, an odd smell hit my nose. I immediately opened the fridge, which is usually where odd smells emanate from. There were a few things that were maybe kind of close to getting, but no, it wasn't coming from there. So my next thought was maybe a dead mouse. So I pulled the stove out, nothing. sick of water, I figured I'll eventually find it. Oh, side note, when I opened his dishwasher, the top rack held an assortment of rubber dildos. I just left them there. I always wondered how people got those clean. Don't plan on eating at his house anytime soon. When I got to the stove, I opened it up, and there it was. Someone had shit in the oven. Yep, left a little pile of poop. I did spend some time trying to figure out how the person could have manipulated to get the right possession to leave their presence so cleanly. Some things are better left to the imagination. I cleaned it up and thought it better to speak in person than to send an email. Hi, it's Paul, the cleaning guy. Yeah, no, I'm fine. No, I was able to figure out the laundry and stuff. Sure, I'll put it away in the dresser. I just have to tell you about something I found in the apartment. No, I took care of it, but well, you see, someone pooped in your oven. No, shit, yes, shit in the oven. Hello? Okay, I just wanted you to know. He moved out 2 weeks later and told me that he suspected it was his super. I was happy he told me because my curiosity had all kinds of explanations in my mind. Did he suffer from sleepwalking and mistakenly think it was a toilet? Did he have a trick that he couldn't pay for? Was he just trying to see how thorough I was? I often play that game in my mind when I find random objects in strange and out-of-the-way places. It is entirely possible that loose change can roll into weird areas, or is it a test of whether I'm covering every inch of the apartment in search of dirt? Can you see what a high-pressure job this is? Especially when my main goal is to please the client. But sometimes I strive to do so much, and many of my clients may not even care I cleaned out their medicine cabinet. It's all about finding out their specific areas and giving those places priority. Otherwise, I can kill myself working on an area they'll never notice.
Beep. Paul, it's Agnes. I was calling to tell you that I realized that I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. I guess you have every right to be angry. I shouldn't have yelled at you. Can we be friends again? Please confirm what time you're coming this week. I have some chocolates from San Francisco.
Let me just get up one more time.
Paul, it's Agnes. I'm sorry.
I just had to see if she actually said she was sorry. Not quite, but the intent was appreciated. Clients can sometimes expect me to read their minds as to what they may mean in cryptic messages or passive-aggressive emails. Part of my job is to decipher those messages and hopefully by osmosis get their apartment cleaned. But there are special cases where I really have to not show any reaction to what I'm walking into, as if it was just a simple, normal, dirty apartment. I think I'm a pretty easygoing guy, and I really do my best to never judge what I may walk into, especially if the client is there and I can see how embarrassed they are. I'm the cleaner that boasts that nothing frightens me, and I have to keep my composure no matter what I may encounter. Like one guy who offered me $100 an hour to clean his apartment to get him back his security deposit. Yes, 100 smackaroos to bring it back from total chaos. You can imagine my high level of curiosity that wondered how bad could the apartment be to pay me such a high rate. It was his studio, and his cat had thrown up all over the apartment. The bathtub was literally black with mold, and you couldn't even open the fuzzy shower curtain. The freezer was filled with frozen pizza and popsicle boxes. And in the fridge, I slowly opened the door as my eyes dart to and fro, looking for those science projects that really need to go. My nose is prepared for a waft of mold. I dive in to discover what is old. The milk has turned to cheese. Toss it out. The orange juice that's now black won't help your gout. That bowl of fuzz was berries weeks ago. And those grapes are nearly raisins Chinese rice. That saggy skinned chicken won't taste nice. The salmon now has legs and wants to spawn. None of this should see the light of dawn. If I do my job correctly and just right, I can restore it to a fridge that's clean and bright. Hi, it's Paul. Can I speak to Agnes? Paul, it's Ivy. She's gone. I mean, she passed away last night. I'll have to find out if they still need you. She went quietly. She left some chocolates for you here. Paul? Paul? You take care, dear. Okay, I can be stubborn, and sometimes not flinch when I feel the same resistance coming from the other side. Agnes was her own unique creation, and I luckily was able to be someone she could talk to on a different level than the other people who worked for her. And my pride got in the way. I never got to thank her for the chocolates. Each client has their own unique relationship with me. Most time it remains strictly business. There are those certain few where the line becomes blurred because the level of involvement with them and their home goes beyond a simple cleaning. Like the time I got a call from a man who was going to be evicted if he didn't get his apartment cleaned. He'd gotten my contact info from another client. And after cleaning his apartment, I can say that I have seen hell in cleaning. When he opened the door, an overwhelming stench of decay hit my nostrils. And as I walked into the apartment, I was walking on layers of items covering the floor. Clothes, papers, food containers, seltzer bottles, littered every square inch of his apartment. I started in the kitchen, small galley type. Mouse droppings rained down on me as I pulled exploded cans of food from the cupboards, and my feet stood in trash 2 feet deep. It took me 17 hours to clean his kitchen. It normally takes me 2. I spent hours doing the bathtub, which was full of dishes. In his bedroom, I found dead plants stuffed in dresser drawers with his underwear. And 3 inches of old mail is what covered the bedroom floor. His bed was his old childhood twin bed, with the mattress ripped and most of the stuffing hanging out onto the floor. I spent numerous weekends working on bringing his apartment back to a semblance of order. But my mind kept saying that there had to be a reason for this. Now, if you met the guy on the street, he was totally functional and nice, a banker. So I had to find out what was causing this. Now, luckily, I've always been one of those people that for some reason strangers talk to. Like on the subway, I always get asked for directions. Or if I happen to be shopping in a department store in the winter without a coat, everybody asks me for help. I guess I don't appear threatening. I put on my psychiatrist hat and started digging. So can I ask you what happened to you? I mean, if you want to talk about it. I understand if you don't, but it might help you moving forward. He paused for a moment, and I could see how hard it was for him to talk about it. Then he finally looked away and said in a small voice, I got robbed, and it really threw my world into chaos. I was nervous all the time and scared that maybe they would come back. And this is going to sound so stupid. I thought that if I let the place go, then I was safe. No one would rob me because it would be such a mess. But it took such a long time for me to get back to feeling in control of my life. And yet every night when I came home, I couldn't do anything to stop the mess that was accumulating. It became my security. And even though I knew I had to do something, now it was too embarrassing to ask for help. Until I was told I was going to get evicted, and that's when I asked Linda for your number. I got his place all back in order and assured him that if he kept on top of things, his apartment would stay reasonably clean. He had the apartment repainted and the mess was gone. 6 months later, Paul, I need your help again. Can you come by and give me a hand? I was shocked to find out it had reverted all back to his old habits. I will clean this one more time, but then you're on your own. I understand how hard it is to change your routine and work at keeping it up. Messy and cluttered is fine, but not unclean. You may want to seek professional help to determine what the real cause is. I mean, he had issues from something because his childhood twin bed, the stuffing coming out, didn't come from letting his place go. But I can't say that, as I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm only the cleaning guy. I could only try to nudge him in the right direction. I guess you're wondering, after something like that, why I would want to keep doing this. But I guess it's because, beep!
Paul, it's Rita. Rita Blumenthaler. Dear, I just wanted to thank you for the lovely job you did. I know it must have been atrocious when you walked in and everything was on the floor. I just have this habit of when I drop something, I can't pick it up. I see you found the garbage I always stuff in the freezer. I just think it keeps it from smelling. And thank you for cleaning my little mountain of toenail clippings from behind the couch. I just get so engrossed in Downton Abbey that I just clip and flip. I do appreciate you, so just wanted you to know. Bye, dear.
Frozen trash and toenails. Who could ask for anything more? I thought that I'd seen it all, but no, the garbage gods had more in store for me. Beep. Hi, I hope I have the right number. I'm looking for the cleaning guy. My name is Marjorie. I hope you're able to help me. I have a teenage daughter who's not very okay, she's a real slob. And she's studying for her finals, and her place is a huge mess. I just don't have time to go over myself and clean it, so I'm hoping you can take it on. You know how college kids are when it comes to keeping things clean, just not on priority. I look forward to hearing from you. I arrived and the apartment door was open, and I said my usual, hello, just to make sure there were no pit bulls in hiding. And heard this chipper hello from a female voice in the living room on the far end of the apartment. I could see at first glance that the floors were strewn with clothes and the usual garbage. As I was walking down a long hallway, my eyes searched the walls where I saw all sorts of ribbons and trophies for horseback riding. I usually try to see what's in a person's apartment as a way of making conversation if it doesn't flow naturally. I stepped over the piles of trash and just poked my head in the kitchen. Wow. Talk about a college kid's kitchen. Oh, moldy food in pots on the stove, fuzzy dishes that covered the counter. Oh, to be young and carefree and know that someone else may have to clean it up. Thank God for mommy's money. Then as I headed toward the living room, a distinct and foul odor hit my nostrils. I had to focus myself as I was hit with a feeling of nausea. That's when I looked down at what I was walking over. The clothes on the floor were covered in dried excrement. There were used sanitary napkins stuck to the rugs in the hallway. When I got to the living room, there was a young girl of about 22 lying in a bed. Her sheets were saturated with her own urine. And as she rolled over to greet me, roaches scrambled out from underneath her. She was obviously dehydrated as her lips were dry and cracked. I had to pause for a moment and rally myself. Hello, Natalie. I'm here to get you cleaned up. Your mother sent me, so don't hold that against me. She smiled a huge grin and seemed so glad to have company. You look like you might be thirsty, so I'm going to get you a glass of water, and then I'll tackle getting the bathroom clean, and I'll need your help once that's done. I went in the kitchen and stood there. I was overwhelmed. I didn't know if I could do this. This was beyond the scope of just cleaning. I felt sick, and I started toward the door, and I heard the sound of her coughing. She really needed the water, and I couldn't leave her here like this. So I searched for a clean glass. I opened the fridge, but only science experiments inside. Even the Brita pitcher had a thick layer of mold from non-use. I chose tap water as the safest thing and filled a large glass. Once I handed it to her, she smiled wide and drank it all down. So you must be quite the equestrian rider from all the trophies and ribbons I see covering your apartment. Now me, I always had a problem just trying to get up on a horse. They'd just keep walking and I'd be hobbling with one leg over the side like I was riding side saddle. She laughed while I grabbed clothes that I thought would come clean and did the laundry, but tossed more clothes than I washed. I went in to start tackling the bathroom and used extreme amounts of bleach to disinfect and get rid of the layers of mold that permeated most of the surfaces. I never stopped talking to her. I got her to start talking about horses, and immediately alive and animated. She was so bright, and she had a great sense of humor. Okay, I finished your laundry, and now I need your help. Can you do me a favor and go hop in the shower while I change your bed, and we'll get everything all fresh and new, including you. I put out a fresh towel and clean clothes for you. Hope you agree with my fashion sense. I do have 5 sisters, so you'll be the judge of that. She eagerly rolled over to get out of the bed. I gave her my hand to lift her off the stained sheets, and more roaches went running for cover. She was able to stand, but then I noticed the bed sores on her legs, and it seemed to have been a while since she'd left her bed. You can use my arm, milady. I offered it to her. She put her arm through mine, and we made our way to the bathroom. I heard the water for the shower and quickly stripped the bed and threw away the sheets. While remaking the bed, I noticed an array of medicine bottles on an adjacent small table. Looking at the labels, I realized that she had AIDS. Not my first encounter, as I had worked for and watched 13 clients go from diagnosis to passing. In the kitchen, I was assembling some remnants of crackers and cheese on a plate to get her something to eat. When suddenly I heard a small but clear-pitched voice start to sing from the shower. It had a beautiful, pure, and innocent quality that made me think, how could anyone abandon her here? She emerged from the bathroom looking squeaky clean. I took the liberty of creating a little gastronomic adventure for you from what I could find in the kitchen. You usually take your medication with food, right? She answered yes, and then I watched as she took her meds. I asked when her mother had been to visit her last, and she said she couldn't quite remember. She yawned and appeared tired, so we got her back in her clean bed, and she fell off to sleep. I left the apartment and stood for a moment taking in deep breaths of clean air, trying to rid my lungs from the bleach vapor, feeling the warmth of the sun on my face and so happy to be out of the apartment. Now I had to report in to her mother and try to maneuver the fine line between being professional and letting my personal feelings get in the way. Yes, this is Paul, the cleaning guy. I got your daughter's apartment clean. You're right, it was quite a mess, but oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm sure it was pretty scary. Well, it was more than just scary. Your daughter needs. I really want to thank you for so much for what I assume was a great job, and I will include a little extra when I send you the check. I'm sure she was happy to have some company for a few hours and hope she behaved herself. I just stared at the phone and the voice coming out of it. I couldn't believe what her mother was saying, as if everything was totally fine. I thought of Natalie alone and just snapped. I cannot believe you didn't warn me about your daughter's condition. I do not appreciate being thrown into a situation with no information. The apartment was not just a mess, and your daughter needs a nurse or some kind of healthcare aid. Well, I'm sorry, but I was afraid you wouldn't take the job if you knew what you were walking into. I didn't know what to do. My husband won't visit her, and he doesn't want to deal with the situation. Situation? This is your daughter. I found her lying in her own urine with roaches crawling on her, used sanitary napkins stuck to the rugs. She was dehydrated and alone, with bed sores covering her legs. No, stop it, please. No, you stop it! You're her mother! This is your child! I don't care if your husband can't deal with it. She is a human being. She needs human contact, not to be left alone to fend for herself. I'm not a healthcare provider. I'm only an apartment cleaning guy. There are places you can call to get information on hospices or visiting nurse service. You brought her into this world and she needs you. Tell your husband it's time to be her father and stop being afraid of his own daughter. I gave her the number for the gay men's health crisis. She called me back a week or so later and thanked me, as they were moving her daughter into a hospice, and she was working on her husband to become more involved. That's a unique thing about being a cleaning guy, especially for those people who I've worked for long periods of time. I know very intimate things about their lives, but we're not friends, nor are we family. It's a weird place to be sometimes. Like the gay couple whose cat came to me when I said, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty." Both contracted AIDS, and I worked for them until one died, and then the other, and then I worked for their sister, who had a hard time dealing with their passing and started to drink. I'm sitting in the back of the church in a pew that's 4 by when he found out all these feelings kept in check for so long. Now he's gone, but it seems wrong that in the front a familiar face his sister notices me with a look of grace. Her smile lets me know it's okay to let go. It's no disgrace. Part of me suddenly slips away as the tears run down my face. Then her smile lets me know her brother knows I'm in this row. He's finally with his other half, and they can rest in peace at last. I'm just a cleaning guy, you see, but I know he'll always be a part of me.
This is Gerard. I'm not sure if you got my last message.
Paul dear, it's Rita. I forgot to tell you, the place really looks like a disaster. I don't know how I do it, but my dropsy has been extreme this week. I just wanted to see if, oh dear, I've dropped my phone. Come over and pick it up for me. Being the cleaning guy makes me someone that people trust with both their homes and their lives. As keeper of all this intimacy, I try to uphold that position by never judging what may appear to someone from the outside to be a random mess or a lack of self-control. Each person and each apartment has a unique and all too human reason for whatever may exist inside. It's my job to make them feel at ease and let them know that I can turn that mess back into a home where they feel safe and secure and welcome. Hey, I've seen Helen Cleanton. Nothing freaks me out. Okay, might freak me out for a few minutes. But I know that whatever situation I'm walking into is only on the surface. Underneath the mess is a person, reaching out for help and human contact. If I'm lucky enough to be the hand they grab, then I will do everything in my power to make sure that dirt never wins. Beep! Hi, this is Anita. I want to warn you that I'm a hoarder, and I realize that I have a problem, but my godson saw your listing on Craigslist and thought you might be able to help me. I would really appreciate if you might consider helping me. I don't know who else to call. My cats, there are 11 of them, and one dog would be happy to meet you. I understand if you don't want to take this on, but I'm ready now. But I know I cannot do it alone. Would you give me a call or email me your availability? Thank you so much. Hope to hear from you. I'm the cleaning guy. No more watching porn or stealing food. I'm the cleaning guy. I rarely ever clean in the nude. I'm not a doctor or a cop, but I'll amaze you with my mop. If you want to organize your life, I'll help eradicate your strife.